Okay, part 4. It's the last 3 DLC bosses, and we're starting with one very similar to the Celestial Emissary, if all of the enemies were all the big alien thing, and if they had, like, magic attacks. So same general rule applies, except focus on one at a time, don't get crowded, just kill one at a time. Fire does some more damage to them. Be careful with the magic. It drains more than anything else in this fight. And that white orb that they send at you can, like, take 2/3 of your life in a single hit. So it's important to make sure you don't get hit by that. Yeah, just don't get crowded. It's a pretty easy boss. It isn't until the last 2 bosses in the DLC when it gets super difficult. I mean, Ludwig was a bit of a bitch, but this one's pretty easy. Yeah. Most of this DLC is pretty rough. It was really good though. It was worth it. And there's still, like, skips in the footage. I don't know what was up with SharePlay. Maybe one of y'all can tell me, like, is there a thing with SharePlay where it'll, like, skip certain parts of the video for some reason? I haven't figured that out yet. But oh, and another thing with this boss is I ended up dying after I had killed them. So I had to go back to the boss room to get my souls. See? See how much damage that orb did? Gotta be careful about them. And then they started their asteroids from space shit, and it was over. And then I ended up getting hit by the asteroids, and I die. So you gotta be really careful about that attack. It can fuck you up real bad. So I was around level 100 when I did that, and then one of the better fights in the entire game, Lady Maria, is what we're doing right now. She can be difficult if you did it how I did it, and relied more on dodging and stun locking her than you did, like, parrying. Because if you can parry her, you can easily do this boss without getting hit. But I didn't really rely on parrying through most of the game, so I didn't have the timing for it. I relied more on dodging and aggression than I did parrying. So, like, I got some parries off on her, and they worked really well. She's got 3 phases, and maybe, like, a couple hidden ones that aren't, like, visual cues, and she just gets, like, more damage or something, or more aggression. But she can do a lot of damage really fast, because some of her attacks, they do blood damage and fire damage. And she attacks fast. She's a really cool boss, though. One of the better ones in the series, I'd say. Yeah, I don't have much I can say about her. Just, if you want an easy time of it, just make sure you're really good at parrying and getting those viscerals off in time. And if you get really good at parrying, I recommend you increase your blood tinge, because that'll make your visceral attacks do more damage. I think it also increases like how much your serrated weapons do. I'm not 100% sure on that though. So that's Lady Maria. And after her, it's easily one of the longest fights in the game for me. One of the more difficult ones too, I'd say. Orphan of Kos. He's very aggressive, and he's melee, but he also has long range, and he has area of effect attacks. And that lunge attack you just saw, if you can do it right, you can dodge underneath him and then do a charge attack towards his back and stun him and get a visceral off on him. That's if you do it right though. But even though he's more difficult, you can do the same general thing you've been doing for all beast bosses, and just dodge to the left or the right with the right timing and attack his ass. That will work to some degree, but some of his attacks, if not all of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, can attack like 360 degrees around him. And he hits like a truck. It's not the easiest thing to do. And this has been my first time playing this DLC, so it took me a minute to learn this one. It was a lot of fun though. I wasn't doing too well at the start here, but I get in the groove of things here in a minute. Yeah. Once I figure out like the timing for most of his attacks and get them down just right, it goes well. See, you can do that and get a lot of hits off on him. He doesn't really stun lock either, so you can't really abuse that. That attack, dodge forward, not to the side or backward, like when he throws things. In his phase 2, it's more or less the same thing. It's just he's more aggressive, and he gets like area of effect lightning attacks from the sky. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this boss either. There's not many tips I can offer given how I play. He can be parried, I think. I didn't bother to try because I don't really parry. I focus more on dodging and aggression. That can be both a good thing and a bad thing, to be honest. Because, like, if you parry more, you can avoid a lot of the damage just by stunning them. But with me, you end up tanking through a lot of it. That attack, the yo-yo thing, I'd recommend just staying away, because there's not really anywhere safe you can stand for that one. And just every time he uses the lunge, try to abuse it. I didn't manage to do it right most of the times I tried, but there's his phase 2. For Phase 2, I'd recommend staying closer to him than you did on Phase 1, because his attacks aren't as long range, so you can stay closer to him pretty safely. He moves a lot though, so be prepared to time some dodges. And there's that area of effect lightning I was talking about earlier. And I don't think you can stun him anymore in this phase. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can't. I think this boss runs like 7 minutes for me. Yeah, something like 7 minutes. It's a long ass fight. Part of that is how fucking massive his health bar is. He has a huge health pool. This is more of an endurance fight than anything. But then after this, it's just the 2 end game bosses, and then that's it, and that's all the Bloodbourne bosses. This is my favorite one. Out of all of them, this is my favorite boss in the game. Maybe in the series. Like, of all the Dark Souls games, of Bloodborne, Demon Souls, this is probably my favorite boss in the whole series. Either him or the dragon boss in Dark Souls 3, Dark Eater Midir. That was a fun one. A lot of his combos, you can stay behind him and avoid them, but I think I was trying to play it safe here because I had him so close to dead. I didn't want to get greedy. He's more or less dead at this point. Just, you know, copy and paste what you've been doing for the past like 3 minutes and you'll get it down. There I got greedy and almost died. The exact thing I was trying not to do by playing it safe, but sometimes just getting the boss done and over with makes you do dumb shit. I do that a lot. And a lot of that was happening to me in this fight because it's just such a long fight. But at this point, it's over. He doesn't do too much more here. He does that lunge attack that takes most of your health. And then he does some other jumping attacks, and then he screams for the lightning attack, and I kill him in the middle of his scream. And that's every DLC boss in Bloodborne. So I will see you for the end of the game in the next video.